Hey, how is everybody? So, I wanted to do I always say quick, and it's 20 minutes later, and it's really not so quick. So, um, a sort of quick video today on sleep because sleep tends to be a big issue for people. And a lot of people, in session talk about it being a problem. People just in general, I see a lot of people online at different times talking about how they're having a really difficult time sleeping. They're getting up in the middle of the night. They're just really struggling with sleep. And I think we all can at least acknowledge that just the obvious things that if we have things going on in our lives, if we have things that are worrying us, you know, that we have to deal with, excuse me, um, that are not being dealt with, worries about things that haven't even happened. If we do have other things going on, concerns about family, friends, work, et cetera, it's very hard to shut that stuff off when we go to bed at night. So I'm just going to go over some healthy sleep tips with you today. And again, I say tips like some of them may work for you, some of them may not work for you. These are things that I've kind of been doing with people for a very long time. And again, some things resonate with people and some things don't. I kind of look at it like I try to just give people, as much information as possible. And my hope is always that even if there's just one thing that you can take from this that is helpful, it's one thing more that you maybe didn't have prior to watching this video. So, again, I know how much sleep plagues people, and I know that it not only plagues, just feeling exhausted, but it also affects so many different areas, our physical well being, our mental well being. It affects sometimes how short our fuse can be with our significant others, with our children, with our coworkers, even with ourselves. Sometimes we're not so gentle with ourselves. So, I just thought I'd come on here, do this, give you some tips, information, and that's it. So, okay. So, number one, maintain a regular bed and wake time schedule, including on the weekends. And so, I know that sometimes that's hard, but our sleep wake cycle is regulated, as you know, by a circadian clock in our brain, and the body's need to balance both sleep time and wake time. A regular waking time in the morning strengthens the circadian function, and it can help with sleep onset at night. This is also why it's important to keep a regular bedtime and wake time, even when there's a temptation to sleep in. Sometimes we sleep in and then we have a difficult time going to sleep at night. So we want to try, obviously there's times when we have special occasions and things like that, and that changes that. But, if you can try to get up, on the weekends as well, like you normally do during the week. I know some people, their sleep schedule just is what it is anyway. So if you get up at 5 in the morning, Monday through Friday, sometimes you notice it on Saturday and Sunday, it's the same thing. So you just want to try to keep that sleep schedule. You want to establish a regular bedtime routine, such as reading a book, listening to soothing music. Excuse me, I have no idea. Stuttering helps. I don't know. A relaxing routine activity right before bedtime, conducted away from bright lights, helps separate your sleep time from activities that can cause excitement, stress, or anxiety, which can make it more difficult to fall asleep. Get sound and deep sleep or remain asleep. Avoid arousing activities before bedtime, like engaging in exercise or family problem solving. If you are unable to avoid tension and stress, it might be helpful to learn relaxation therapy from a trained professional. This is where focused breathing and relaxation techniques, which I've tried to review a few times, can be helpful. You can also look up if you're not in therapy or or have someone that that kind of can go over these things with you. I think we all know that all you need to do is go online and you can find any kind of, again, the Calm app and Headspace and all of these apps, can help teach you focused breathing. And same thing with there's just a myriad of resources out there now. You don't necessarily need somebody like me to teach you these things. You want to try to avoid exposure to bright light before bedtime because it signals the neurons that help control the sleep-wake cycle that it is time to awaken, not to sleep. I am a huge proponent of guided sleep meditation, which is also very helpful. So I feel like I might have mentioned this before, but if I didn't, I really want to mention it now that, there are, again, there's the Calm app, as I mentioned, but there's also on Amazon Music, there are also some guided sleep meditations. I just recommend just find one or two that works for you. This way you can rotate. And, again, sometimes you might hear a voice that just does not work, does not resonate with you. It might even, even the music in the background might not be soothing. So it does take time to find something that works. Don't think, oh, I tried guided meditation and it didn't work because of, you have all these reasons. I get that. I had to go through a bunch before I found something that worked for me. Whether, again, it was the person's specific voice or, again, the music in the background that for me just wasn't soothing. So I went through probably about 10, and I've picked out 3 that I rotate and that help me when when I try to go to sleep. Okay. Create a sleep conducive environment. It's dark, it's quiet, comfortable, and cool. You want to design your sleep environment to establish the conditions that you need for sleep. And you want to make it hopefully free of interruptions. Also, make your space reflective of the value you place on sleep. Check your room for noise or other distractions, including a partner's sleep disruption, such as snoring, light, and a dry or hot environment. Consider using shades or earplugs if necessary. Um, Again, like just making that environment conducive to sleep. Like when you walk into the room when you're ready for bed, like that's your mind. It starts to kind of recognize like this is sleep. This is where we're going, and this is a place that, um, it's not. There's not all kinds of, again, for some people, like they put the TV on. Again, if that soothes you, no problem. But if it doesn't, again, being aware of that maybe you need to figure out a better way to get those distractions and those noises and lights, shut off earlier than later. I know a lot of people say, well, I watch a movie before I go to bed or I do this. And again, for some people, I know that works. And I'm not trying to tell you not to do something that works. That would make absolutely no sense. But I'm just saying if you do struggle with sleep issues, disruptive sleep or having a hard time falling asleep, just keeping in mind that you want to take a look at what it is that you're doing before you go to bed. Sleep on a comfortable mattress and pillows. Again, that's a pretty obvious thing to say. I don't think I have to even get into that. But I think sometimes people don't realize that maybe they have a really crappy pillow. It's causing neck strain, and maybe your mattress at this point maybe needs to be flipped. Get a new one. I understand mattresses obviously are not cheap, so just maybe getting a mattress topper. But making sure that if you're starting to notice that regardless of what age you are, that if you're not comfortable, you're waking up and you're not feeling right. If you're feeling pains as you're getting up, just know that your body didn't just wake up in pain. Like throughout the night, it wasn't feeling right. So you probably weren't getting the kind of sleep that you want to because of the fact that your body does not feel good. It's in pain. It's achy. So it didn't, like I said, you don't just wake up and it's achy. It was achy while you were laying down as well. Um, so, well, this one's use your bed. I used to do this in a correctional facility, so bear with me on this one. Use your bed only for sleep, um, because we were very specific about what you're supposed to use your room for. But obviously, that's not all as adults that we use our beds for. So, but essentially, just making the point that you take work materials out of the sleeping environment. It should be to strengthen. You want to use your bed to strengthen the association between bed and sleep. If you associate a particular activity or item with anxiety about sleeping, omit it from your bedtime routine. For example, if looking at a bedroom clock makes you anxious about about how much time you have before you have to get up, move the clock out of sight. I basically make sure that I use my phone as my alarm, and that is across the room, for a few reasons. But one of them is I don't want to look at that if I'm tossing and turning, but also in the morning when that goes off, I have no choice but to get up. There is no hitting snooze. And those of you that have issues with headaches, migraines, things like that, that was also recommended by my neurologist that you don't hit snooze because it does not help headaches. She was very clear that once you get up, you stay up, because it doesn't help to go back to sleep. That those few minutes of like odd disruptive sleep, they can contribute to headaches. You want to finish eating about 2 to 3 hours before your regular bedtime. Eating or drinking too much may make you less comfortable when settling down for bed. It's best to avoid a heavy meal too close to bedtime. Obviously, things like spicy foods can certainly cause heartburn, so just knowing what you can and can't handle before you go to bed. But you know that when those things happen, you wake up in the middle of the night and you're having serious like heartburn, acid reflux, stuff like that. Just knowing yourself and knowing that, yeah, you might be able to do this once in a while, but if you know it's an issue, maybe take an antacid before you go to bed so that, again, you're not woken up in the middle of the night with heartburn and now you have disruptive sleep. You have heartburn and you're trying to fall back to sleep again. You want to try to restrict fluids close to bedtime as well. again, to prevent nighttime awakenings, to go to the bathroom. Again, everybody knows themselves. I think everybody knows that, what they can and can't drink before they go to bed. I mean, we're all adults. Some people find milk, not warm milk, but regular milk or herbal and non-caffeinated teas to be very soothing and helpful part of the bedtime routine. So again, I wouldn't say don't drink anything because again, well, I am not the boss of anybody, but also like if it works for you, it works for you. These are just things, again, like sometimes things, most of the stuff I can almost assure you everybody knows what I'm talking about. But if there's anything, like I said, that I come up with, so many allergies, then, again, my hope is that even if there's one thing that you didn't even think of, that's why I'm doing this. Exercise, I think, again, self-explanatory. Exercise regularly. If you're sedentary, try as hard as you can to do 20 to 30 minutes of some kind of physical activity during the day. It's really hard to, your body wants to rest at night, obviously, but it's hard to kind of convince it to do that when it's done nothing all day. So you've been at rest all day, and now you want me to be at rest again at night. That's kind of it's hard. So you want to do something. You want to get your adrenaline going. You want to have some kind of physical activity. Try every day at least to get yourself in a routine of at least, I would say, at least 30 minutes of something. So that, again, like your body has done something physical and really has the need to go to sleep at night. But you also want to be aware that it's best to complete your workout at least a few hours before bedtime. You exercising sporadically or right before going to bed will make falling asleep more difficult. In addition to making us more alert, our body temperature rises during exercise and takes as many as 6 hours to begin to drop. So a cooler body temperature is associated with sleep onset. So finish your exercise at least, 3 hours before bedtime. Late afternoon exercise is a perfect way to help you fall asleep at night. Because again, you're kicking everything in at night and then you're kind of saying to your body, here we go, and then no, we don't. And so that's also an issue. Again, avoiding caffeine close to bedtime can also keep you awake. But keeping in mind, it's not just coffee. There's tea, soft drinks, chocolate, anything that has caffeine in it. For some people, they can drink caffeine all day and it absolutely does not affect them at night. For other people, they can't have even one cup of caffeine, cup of coffee or anything with caffeine in it. And I think it's a matter of just being aware of what it is that you're drinking and how much and how it can affect your sleep at night. Just like it can also affect your anxiety as well. So just keeping that in mind. Now, obviously, we all know caffeine is a stimulant, and it can certainly produce that an altering effect. So again, like try to, and it stays in your body. In case you didn't know that, an average for about 3 to 5 hours. So just remembering that. So if you're supposed to go to bed at say 8 o'clock at night, just keeping in mind that you may not want to have any more caffeine after say 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I tend to try not to drink any more after about noon because I don't want it to affect my sleep at night. And I've definitely cut down on a lot of caffeine. I know that had a lot of negative effects on me. If you find that your sleep is disruptive for whatever reason, you get up in the middle of the night. So my recommendations here would be to get up, walk around. Don't put pressure on yourself to get back to sleep. It's not an issue of blame, getting mad at yourself. Oh, I can't do this. I can't get back to sleep. I need to get back to sleep. I need to go. I have to work tomorrow. All of those things are true. You know that. You internalize it. You already get it. So, saying those things and getting more and more upset about it, again, you're starting to just get a little bit of, maybe mild anxiety. Again, you're kicking your adrenaline in. That's not going to help you relax and go back to sleep. So get up. Take a little bit of a walk, maybe stretch, grab a glass of water to ensure, again, that you're not dehydrated because that can also cause issues with sleep. And I know I said don't drink a lot of water before you go to bed. I'm just saying that dehydration can also be a problem. So have a little bit of water, and then once you've kind of done that, lie back down again. If you can restart your guided meditation, do that. You don't have to just do it one time in the night. If you get up at 2 in the morning, and you feel like you're struggling to go back to sleep, grab your guided meditation, put it back on, and utilize that hopefully to help you fall back to sleep again. Something else that I just want to talk about as well is, I've heard many people throughout the years say the term racing thoughts. I'll have a lot of racing thoughts when I go to bed, and I don't know how to calm my mind down. And so, one of the things with the guided sleep meditations is the hope is that your focus is on the guided sleep meditations and you're listening to someone else speak and letting go of whatever's going on in your head. The hope is you don't have room, right, for your own thoughts to kind of be going over here and listening to the guided meditation. You're just listening to the guided meditation. But if that's not enough, and that can happen, I recommend to people, like, grab a notepad or a piece of paper, I don't care what it is, and a pen, and actually acknowledge, like, what are these thoughts? Like, when you're saying I have racing thoughts, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're thinking about, like, is there something that you're worried about? Is there a question that is, going on in your head that needs answering? Or unfinished business, like something that you need closure on, and you don't have it. So what I recommend is just take each thought, like, grab it and write it down. And once you've done that, then you can kind of take the pressure off of yourself that you need to remember these things. Because a lot of times your racing thoughts aren't just like scattered thoughts all over the place. A lot of times, like, it's your head also saying, like, you need to remember all these things. And then you start getting pressure. Like, you almost don't, like, your body almost doesn't want to go to sleep. Your mind doesn't want to go to sleep because it's like, I have to remember all of these things. Well, you eliminate that by writing all of that down. So just write it. I don't care what it is. You can just bullet it, right? And then you can remind yourself right then and there. Okay, I've written it down. Now I can go to sleep because it's all written down, and I can address all of this tomorrow. The only thing that has ever happened where it's backfired is I've had some of my inmates do it and then come back to therapy and be like, great idea. I basically stayed up now all night with my list and decided I was going to attack it. Well, that's not the point. The point isn't for you to make a list and then stay up till 3 a.m. going through your list and answering all the questions. I obviously can't stop you from doing that, but the purpose is to get all this stuff out of your head, put it on paper, and then know that you've done that. And sort of like saying, okay, I just took control of that situation. I know that tomorrow I have a list of stuff that I can sit with, that's now tangible, that I can go through that list and I can determine what I have control over and what I don't. If there are questions that I need to answer and I'm capable of answering right now, or do I need to seek somebody else to help me answer that, or other information? And again, any unfinished business, like, what is it that I need to do? Is there something that I'm not dealing with? Is there something that I'm procrastinating about? And if you see that on that paper, then you can also visualize, like, obviously this is something that's plaguing me at night. So I need to take care of this because I'm procrastinating on this thing, and it's clearly affecting me in a few different ways. And one of them is it's giving me sleepless nights because clearly I know I need to take care of it. And on top of that, just looking at it and saying, why am I procrastinating? What is it about this issue that's making me not deal with it head on? So yeah, it's work. I get it. But I feel like, a little bit of work over here, and kind of getting this stuff, like, off of your plate and out of your mind. When you start doing these types of things and, like, dealing with things head on, you don't carry them into the bed with you. So you get to actually sleep at night because you know that you're actually dealing with everything that you need to deal with. And you're getting rid of excessive worry, because that's another thing. But we'll touch base on that one in this upcoming podcast. And I just did a video on control and in your thinking, so I don't need to get into all of that excessive worry and taking your thoughts back. Um, but again, that's part of it. So these are just some tips because, again, I know that sleep is a big issue, and and I have people that have told me a few times, like, no matter what I've ever said to them, no matter what recommendations I've ever made, that nothing has ever helped them. And obviously I feel really bad that there's nothing that I mean, I always feel bad when I can't be of assistance, um, but I also recognize that, unfortunately, there are sometimes just physical issues that happen with people, and I'm not obviously a doctor, so I can't change that. But again, these are just some tips. I think I've posted these before, actually, on my Facebook page, and on my private practice page as well. So, if you have any questions, feedback, again, if you have any, like, other tips, that would be awesome, for you to comment, because I'm sure people would absolutely appreciate any useful tips as to what other people are using. I didn't get into medications, this, that, and the other, because it's not really what I promote. I know people use certain things, and that's fine. I'm not judging that. But that's really not, obviously, like I said, that's not what I do. So, you do what works for you. And again, like, I'm not here to say that what you do is not okay, or what I'm saying is the right way. I think everybody does what works for them. But these were just some suggestions. Okay. And that's it. Thanks.